Hey guys, Ashley D. Will here, and today we're talking about beams. Beams. All right, I want to read you Matthew 7, verses 3 through 5. And this is the Living Bible. And so it says, "And why worry?" This is Jesus speaking on the Mount of Olives. Anyway, he says, "And why worry about a speck in the eye of a brother when you have a board in your own? Should you say, 'Friend, let me help you get that speck out of your eye,' when you can't even see because of the board in your own? Hypocrite, first get the board out of your own eye, then you can see to help your brother." That is Matthew 7, verses 3 through 5. So today we're talking about beams, and I want to just give you 4 areas where we can have beams. There are other areas too, but these are the main areas, some of the major areas. So the first one is when we view God as our earthly parent. Okay, that's the first one. When we view God as our earthly parent, this is a skewed view of Him. And I had this very severely because I did not have a good relationship with my dad when I was a little girl. He just was distant and grumpy, and I had ADD, and he just didn't like that. So I got punished a lot by him. And so that really skewed my view of God, and I had to work really hard at pursuing Him to get to know Him as He is, because my brain thought that the Lord was just like my dad when I was a little girl. And that made me afraid of Him. That made me not trust Him. That made me nervous thinking about going around Him and even praying. I just thought, I don't want to pray because I don't want to be around somebody like that. And so it took me, 10 or 15 years really to get over that hurdle of really knowing the Lord as He is and believing what He says is true about His mercy, His grace, His compassion, His understanding, and being able to come to the throne boldly and confidently no matter what is going on. If I've just killed 10 people, I can still go boldly to the throne. And so it doesn't matter, nothing can stop you from going boldly to the throne when you know your God as He is, when you know the Lord as He is, not through this skewed lens. It changes everything. And so we can pray, "Lord, help me to get the beams out of my eyes so I'm not seeing you as my earthly parent." No matter who that parent is, you could have had a great dad or mom, and that can be a good thing. But even don't let that skew your view of the Lord. Okay, secondly, this is another big one, is when we view our spouse as our earthly parent. Now, this is more subtle, and these are both subconscious views, subconscious perceptions. So you may not, if you're not intuitive and you're not kind of deep, you may have trouble seeing this or even believing what I'm saying. But the Lord will show you this. So when we view our spouse as our earthly parent, I had a problem with this too. My husband, Tom, I viewed him as if he were my dad when I was a little girl. That's how my heart saw him. See, and the things that he did confirmed to my heart that he was that. And so it was a very bad situation. And the Lord has had to heal our marriage because of that. He's had to heal my broken heart broken multiple times in a very complex, shattered, hopeless way. And he's had to raise my husband up to do what the Lord, calls husbands to do, which is very simple. So this is the second beam we can have in our eye that can be causing constant problems in our lives, is when we view our spouse as our earthly parent. When we first got married, not only did my heart viewed my husband as my earthly dad, his heart viewed me as his mother. And so his mother was very shaming and very controlling and manipulative. And he saw me that way, and he couldn't help it, because he was seeing me through the lens of that little boy who was trying to get away from his mother. And so it was just a big mess. And it's very typical for this to happen when you get married. This is just what we naturally do, okay? And then the third point is that, this is really big too, we can view ourselves as we perceived them viewing us as children. When you were a little child, you had a perception of the way you thought in your little, innocent, limited, broken mind. You had a perception of what you thought your parent thought of you, and you internalized that. And you did that with both parents, and you probably did it with your older siblings, if you have older siblings. I don't have any. But so I got the brunt from each parent. But you may have had some distance from the parents there. I don't know, but this is just something for you to think about. We can see and view ourselves as we perceived, whether it was accurate or not, it doesn't matter. That perception was internalized. So we can view ourselves falsely as we misperceived our parents viewing us. Or if they perceived us in a terrible way and they made it very clear and very known to us, then that's fine too. But I'm just saying that this is something to look at. Why? Because the way you view yourself can cause a lot of problems in your life. When you view yourself in a way that is, way off and not in agreement with God, there's going to be problems. You're not walking in agreement with Him. And so the goal is to line yourself up with Him at the cellular level. I'm talking all the way down. And that happens one little layer at a time. And you can take little baby steps. You can take one baby step a year if you want to. If you're afraid or you can't, that's fine. However slow or fast you want to go with this, the Lord says do whatever feels right for you. But He will encourage you. And when you connect with other people in a small group, you can find a safe group of people to connect with, like AA or Living Waters or Cross Current. And that group connection with other members of the body will cause you to grow much quicker. How and why? Because if I just see a foot out in the grass, just a foot of a person out in the grass, how is the foot going to move around? The foot's not getting any blood. There's no leg to move the foot, so he can't go. It has to be, the body part has to be connected to the body. And then each body part heals the other. See, the connection is so important. Anyway, I don't want to get off on a tangent with that, but it's very, very important. So the way we view ourselves as we perceived our parents viewing us is very important. And the way we view ourselves with our own judgments and condemnations on ourselves. The division, I'm talking about the inner division that we have on the inside that causes us not to be able to stand. Remember how Jesus said, a house divided against itself cannot stand? Well, when you're divided on the inside, you secretly hate yourself or you don't like yourself, you're going to be unstable. That's just a fact of the universe. So that's something to look at. And the fourth one, of course, as you can probably guess, is when we view others through woundedness. And this is similar to viewing our spouse as our earthly parent. But this is more of a general way, because the way we see other people, see, there's just a reaping and sowing thing going on here. When you view other people, like I've heard people say, I hate everyone. I hate everyone. When you say that, you're going to reap what you sow. Not only are you attracting flies from the garbage in your heart by verbalizing that, the spirits and things that come and hang around you, the problem is that you're viewing other people through a woundedness that you haven't dealt with, you haven't healed, and it's going to cause you more problems. So when we view other people through woundedness, we have a beam in our eye. It's a big fat beam, and we can't see them as they are because the beam is in our eye. And so that can be a real problem. So just in review, the major beams that we can have in our eyes that we need to look for are viewing God as our earthly parent instead of the God that He is. Just a note, your earthly parent, no matter how good or bad they were, especially if they were not good, they were not a good parent, and they were not kind or faithful or helpful or whatever, that is the opposite of the Lord. That is the opposite of Him. Get to know Him as He is, not through the eyes of, the little child that saw the parent. Okay? Secondly, we can view our spouse as our earthly parent subconsciously. That's in every marriage. We can view ourselves falsely as we thought our parents viewed us. And then we can also view other people through woundedness. These are all beams. Beams. They're big and they block the view. When we have a beam in our eye, we can't see reality. We can't see God. See, a beam is like having a something in your heart. You know how that says the pure in heart can see God? Well, when you have a big beam in your eye, you can't see Him as He is. When we have a beam in our eye in our marriage, we can't see our spouse as they really are. When we have a beam in our eye about our own self-perception and self-worth and self-everything, we can't see ourselves as we are. And the same with other people. We cannot see them as they are. When they speak, we're not hearing what they're saying. We're hearing maybe what that parent said or what that bully said or what someone else said. We can't hear. So these are multiple layers of things that come between us and in ourselves that cause more problems than we need to be having. So one thing we can do is tell the Lord that, you can say, Lord, this can be a prayer for you. Lord, I know I have beams in my eyes because your word says so. I feel like I don't have any. I feel like I see everything clearly and I'm all good to go. But I know your word says that we have beams in our eyes. So can you please remove the beams in my eyes? Can you please show me how to cooperate with you in removing the beams from my eyes one by one for the rest of my life? I want to cooperate with you. Show me how to do this. I want to see clearly. I want to see clearly. I want to see reality. I want to walk more in agreement with you. And when I see things in your reality, which is ultimate reality, then I'm going to walk more and more in agreement with you. And that's always the goal. So one little red flag that we can notice is that whenever we see something in another person, let's say we're talking with someone and we just all of a sudden have a critical thought, gosh, I can't believe they did this, or oh, why are they doing that? Is a red flag. Whenever you feel a criticism or a judgment on another person, it's automatically meaning that you have what you're judging this person for or criticizing this person for. There's an old saying in the psychology circles that says, you spot it, you got it. So if you spot something in another person, you can say, wow, Lord, I was very critical in my mind toward this person today, and I know that's a red flag, and maybe you're showing me a beam in my eye by letting me remember that I was critical or mean-spirited or judgmental of this person in traffic or this person on email or wherever in my family, my interactions with this person. I'm always trying to judge them in my heart. And I've prayed for you to show me the beams in my eyes, and that's a red flag. So show me how I'm being the way that I was criticizing that person. Okay, is that too much for y'all? That can be a red flag. Another thing that can help you get rid of beams in your eyes quicker is to forgive. Okay, forgiveness sets a prisoner free. Little did I know the prisoner was me. Remember that when you forgive, you're forgiving the act of what they did, you're forgiving the person, and you're forgiving all the consequences of that thing. And also when you forgive, you do not have to reconcile with the person. It depends. Forgiveness and reconciliation are two different things. And then boundaries are very important because they will protect your heart and your life so that you don't have to forgive the person all over again. Because the more you don't use boundaries, the more you're going to have a problem with forgiveness and anger and all kinds of things. And remember, when you do feel anger towards someone, it is either hurt or fear or sadness is behind that anger. Okay, so these are just mainly 4 main points I wanted to share of beams that can be in our eyes. And we all have them. And one prayer you can always pray is, Lord, help me to remove, or Lord, you remove the beams from my eyes, but I want to cooperate with you in that. I want to be in agreement with you. So pay attention to the red flags and pay attention to your heart and pay attention to your body. Your body's always speaking to you. And so it can let you know that there are issues there when you feel this tension in different places in your body. All right? So the beams in our eyes can be viewing God in a skewed way, viewing our spouse in a skewed way, viewing ourselves in a skewed way, and viewing other people in general in a skewed way. And so the goal is, of course, we want to see clearly because we want to see as God sees. We want to see with the eyes of Jesus. We don't want to be in our own little world of smoke and mirrors and cracked mirrors and crazy mirrors. Okay? So you guys have a great day, and I'm praying for you, and I hope that you will remember these principles and apply them to your life and to your prayer life. Okay? So y'all have a great day, and God bless you.